perches made of ivory, all beautifully inlaid, with semi-precious stones and pearls that glittered in the light, reflected off the marble floor, a truly royal sight. She saw it through the window as she passed by on the street, standing in the corner of the shop that sold antiques. She went inside and asked the man, "That cage is very nice, but tell me where it's come from and I want to know the price."
"The Queen of Sheba owned it once,"
the man replied with haste.
"A very fine and rare antique for people who've got taste. A bit of polish here and there will bring up a treat. But don't forget the bird inside. She also needs to eat."
She took it home that very day and placed it in the hall, beside the walnut writing desk that stood against the wall. It glistened as the evening sun shone through the open door, for she'd washed it down and polished it until her arms were sore. Sang the bird. She cried, but the lady only saw the cage and not the bird inside. That night when she lay down to sleep, she dreamt of royal cages, the kind enjoyed by kings and queens and princes through the ages. She dreamt of Chinese mandarins, of Rajas and of Sikhs, but no one had a cage to match her newly found antique. When at last the sun arose, she woke up from her sleep, and although she wasn't washed or dressed, she ran to take a peep, and stood there in the hallway, gazing at her new possession, but didn't hear the plaintive call, so great was her obsession. Gasped the bird. She cried, but the lady only saw the cage and not the bird inside. She thought a party would be nice in honour of the cage, so searching her address book, she went from page to page, inviting all the people whom she wanted to impress to come for tea on Saturday, respond at civil play. She hardly could contain herself while sending out the cards, but thinking curtains would be nice, so purchased several yards of silk brocade to make the cage more beautiful than ever, and stayed up sewing all night long, so great was her endeavour. She cleaned the cage on Friday till it sparkled like a pin, but never saw the starving bird who begged for food within. And then, forgotten far too long, she stumbled from her perch, but managed with a dying breath the final feeble chirp. Gasped the bird. She cried, but the lady only saw the cage and not the bird inside. She cleaned the cage on Saturday and polished it with pride, quite unaware the bird was dead and lying there inside. But by the time the doorbell rang, the smell was getting strong. She thought, although I've cleaned the cage, there's something very wrong. In twos and threes the guests arrived and gathered in the hall, around the antique bird cage as it stood against the wall. But all agreed it smelt so bad, it really was absurd, that only one with half a brain would fail to feed the bird. Shocked at her short-sightedness, they asked her why she'd never thought to give the bird some food, inquiring,
"Is it clever to only see the cage and not the bird within? You've killed it with your negligence, it really is a sin."
"The cage, my dear, is very nice, as anyone can see, and shouldn't be neglected for the likes of you and me."
"What a dreadful thing you've done, so foolish and absurd. Think the cage is everything and never feed the bird."
So great was her embarrassment, she tried to run and hide, but slipped upon the perched rug and fell upon her side, to the antique bird cage, which then toppled to the floor, and broke into 1,000 pieces, some say even more. Exquisitely the cage was wrought, with pillars carved in jade, and perches made of ivory, all beautifully inlaid, with semi-precious stones and pearls that glittered in the light, until it broke upon the floor, no more a royal sight. For those who haven't understood, we'll leave you with a clue. The pampered cage is flesh and bone, the woman really you, who think this body everything, who kill the soul inside, and waste this life, waste the chance of human life, misled by foolish pride.